What is going on, everybody? It is going into week 10 of 2025, and here we are with another video. It's just amazing every time I look on my calendar and have to make one of these videos or something like that, that time just keeps ticking away already for the year. Like, week 10 is here. When the week is over, we're going to be almost at 20% of the year gone. Now, we're still in the first quarter, right? We're still in the that first quarter of the game here. So we're still getting ready. Things are still getting warmed up. What's really cool is this week, Monday kicks off if I remember correctly, is going to be 20 weeks until Lake Placid. So for the people that are training up for Lake Placid Ironman, you're getting ready to step into that 20-week block. So, we really can't cry over any spilled milk right now about anything we might have missed in training, or maybe a prep that didn't go so well leading up to this, as far as some base building and things like that. But it is what it is at this point. We're going to trudge forward. We're going to start building some volume. We're going to start prepping and getting some specific workouts done in the future for that race, as well as early season 70.3s are going to kick off their build soon. And then really all the summer, July and August, 70.3s got about another month or so left before, or, month and a half left before you're going to start moving into that. So spring's almost here, so I'm excited about that. But just remember, there's a few tips and things I wanted to talk about. These videos are meant for the coached athletes that I coach, but also leave most of them publicly open just for motivational reasons and things like that. And there's a good little following of people that like these videos, so why not? Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep getting after it. So here we go. Let's talk about a few things here. Just a couple notes I left, and just to remember things as we step into these big blocks for these A races. It's not always about performance. It's what I like to really stand for now, especially what I've built myself around as an athlete now, and definitely as a coach in that community that we have here. Is it's really just about a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So remember that when you're it's good to progress, and I love progressing. I'm still trying to progress myself and see what my full potential is with certain things in endurance. But don't always beat yourself up over the performance aspect of it. Just remember what we're doing out there, what the purpose of is to stay healthy, have this a balanced approach to endurance so that we're not beating ourselves down, we're not getting hurt out there. So just remember that. If you're out there doing it, or, if we're connected on Training Peaks, and, you're going through a calendar that I'm building for you, like, there's some specificity there in your health and lifestyle. So awesome, and kudos to you that we've invested in each other to make some awesome, healthy goals through endurance sports for you to progress and have that healthy lifestyle. So just remember that. You're all inspiring. I was talking to, really two standouts this past weekend. Was a male and a female coached athletes, and I'm not going to mention names here again because I like to keep some of these videos public. But you have people that are a male and a female. They're both in their 60s. They're both training. They're both have done. One's been in the endurance community for quite some time now, and she's a little older. She's in her later 60s, and she was out there crushing it this weekend. If you've seen the King of the Hill video, she was out there doing it and running the hills with us and getting after it. And it's just funny because out there was so many different people through age groups and abilities out there, and we're all out there for this one common goal, a hard event, a collaborative effort to get out there and just get after it, and to watch the differences in people. And it just as inspiring as it is for the young 20-year-olds. One of my buddies was 21 that was there. I think he came in fourth. The top person that ran was 28 years old. To watch them fly and lap me out there and everybody else is impressive, trust me. But the inspiring story, and what I get really inspired from, is seeing that I can still do this as I get older. I can still be out there. I can still be having fun. I can still be part of a community, an all-inclusive community of all different types of abilities, because we all have the common goal out there, and we have the common mentality and mindset to be out there, getting after it, having fun, and getting after our goals out there. And as well, the other athlete that I wanted to mention was, he stepped on board with me last year, and he's done 70.3. and training for another 70.3s, trying to get better. And it's just amazing because for you to even just be out there and being consistent and keeping even progress where it's at, because of course we always want to get better. But again, we never know at what point in life or age was our potential. I don't know if I've reached my potential. I don't know my potential will be this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. I don't know. But at some point there will be a bell curve, and then we are fighting to basically keep the progress we've made year after year. So for you to even keep what you've built as we get older, and even at potentially times get a little bit better, that's awesome and that's a win. But even just to be out there doing it. So again, just some substance of all that is age is just a number. I love it. It's what I love about endurance is that there's just people of all ages out there just getting after it. I love it. People that are so young that are thriving in the endurance world and competing for these top age group spots or podiums. And then you just have people that are just made the right decisions in life to make this some type of lifestyle that they want to get after and be a part of. So that's pretty cool. Side note on a couple other things here is I talked about these big blocks, right, over the last week or two. And these big blocks are rest, recovery, fueling, things like that, things we need to do outside of training. And I was talking to a buddy, and I bet we came up with, I bet people would be a lot better at that if there was a way to track it, because we track our metrics, we track how many miles we do. We think more miles or miles are better. We track our heart rate, we track our intensity, we track all these different things. But what if we were able to track, we can track these things, but what if it was more mainstream to track our protein consumption, what our actual nutrition is day in and day out, how we're holding our body composition profile throughout the year, because it doesn't change overnight just because you ate something good. It's a long process of either improving your body composition or degrading your body composition by making poor choices. Quality of sleep, the ability to actually, thoroughly really track your sleep. Your device tracks it, but are you really tracking it? Do you just say, that was a crappy night's sleep, or, oh, well, had a whole week of terrible sleep and don't think anything about it? But when we look at our training, we would contextualize that differently by saying, well, that was a crappy week. I missed 3 runs. I really need to get my shit together for this week. So think about the other stuff, those big blocks like that. It's okay if you have to take a step back a little bit from time to time, but also you can adjust. We can, so start looking into these things a little more, these big blocks. I don't want to say you have to track every single little metric that you have with these big blocks, but really from week to week, dive into those things and see if we can improve upon those, make some notes, write some things down like that, and see how you can progress with those things. And again, I always say this, zoom out. So we want to zoom out, right? Say you had a threshold test, the data collection, whether it be an FTP test or we're doing a 5K test, 20-minute test, whatever it is. And it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go. And then you get down on yourself, and, it may not even be because your ability has changed or your fitness has changed. Maybe you just didn't execute it properly. Or you had a workout that you thought you were going to hit certain splits on. You were prepping for that half marathon or marathon, and we didn't hit them that day. It may not mean what you really think it means. So remember, what I like to do on things like that is if I thought I was going into something and I was going to perform really well and it just didn't go exactly as I thought that day, take a deep breath. I zoom out. And what I like to do is then just remember the journey. Remember where you are now versus where you were. When you can do that and understand where you're at now versus where you were, you'll have much more appreciation for that moment and the ability that you're able to even step up to the plate for whatever race or data collection or whatever it was that day that maybe didn't go well. Especially if you're far into this, like half marathon, ultra runner, Ironman, whatever it is, and it's prepping up to one of those races, and then you zoom back. And why I mention this is I released a podcast this week, which will be hopefully coming out with episodes. I have a few coming out every Monday for the next few weeks. And the first 2 episodes were my journey in endurance sports. And why I thought that was important was not to also get to know me more as an athlete and a coach as well, because I'm following all of your journeys out there, especially the coached athletes, and I wanted you to know what my journey was. But I had fun going back because I typed out basically the whole timeline of events from 2017 up until now. And it was fun because it was humbling. Like to look back and see that, you know, a Couch to 5K, you know, what I was able to accomplish. And then how certain distances felt when I did it for the first time, how terrible the first half marathon was, how like felt, and then how terrible like my first marathon felt versus now when I don't want to say that these things are easy. They're just contextually different now because of where I am. So if I have a bad word, it's like, man, you couldn't do that a couple years ago. You couldn't even attempt to do what you're doing in training, you know, and you were attempting to do those things at races. So just, again, if you're having a moment in your training or you're doubting yourself type of thing, and because endurance is, the humbling part about it is the mental battle of the ups and downs, feeling good, crushing your workouts, to just being down sometimes, lacking motivation. So when those times come, really just practice this zooming out, being humble, taking another look at where you've come with everything like that. And that's another just important reason why I wanted to do that part of the podcast and to talk about that. And really, I was really feeling with my coached athletes as I was going through all that was I wanted to tell my story to inspire those that are fresh into this, maybe a year or two, or stepping up to some other distances finally in their endurance career. And they want to know that anybody who started at any point, or anybody you see out there running, had to start somewhere. You don't just jump in and then you're a marathoner in a day or an Ironman or anything like that. There was a journey, and to live that journey and tell that journey was, I think, very important. And the last thing for this is, it's two things really, they'll follow up with each other, is we had some races this weekend. We had an awesome performance in Tokyo. It was a nice even split for their marathon. They had, you know, a couple of things show up in training right before that, so we had to take a little break in training leading into that. So the goal for that race for that person wasn't, we kind of reestablished what that goal was going to be, and then they ran a perfect, awesome, even split marathon in Tokyo. We had a few people do the King and Queen of the Hill event this past weekend, and this is just really for, if you have a race, B race, C race, or anything like that on the calendar, and you finish that race, especially if it's a traveling race, me as a coach, we may talk leading into that, and we might have a pacing plan, and we, you know, especially for an A goal, we'll probably have like a solid like goal and pacing plan and strategy involved for that day. I'll track you. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to see that run or event pop up in Training Peaks. I'm going to start looking at it on my end. I'm going to start making some mental notes. I like to kind of visualize how I think that day went for you based on the numbers, because I'm able to look on the objective side of things and seeing all the numbers and what zones you were in and kind of living the race through your numbers. But I don't have the subjective side of it, nor do I want to reach out and bother you like just after you just turned yourself inside out possibly on one of these longer events. So to do me a favor, when you have these races, even if they're small races, a hard 5K attempt we were going for, or even some of these New York Road Runners 9+1 races that we're using to kind of get some data collection, like I like you to run the race, finish the race, take it all in, take in how you feel, because I know damn well I've talked to a few people right after their race, and you can be quite emotional sometimes depending how the day goes, good or bad. And we want those feelings to settle, because even myself, I don't like to do my own race recaps, especially even with videos and stuff, for at least like 24 hours. Like I build it all in, I write some things down, I make some notes in my head, and then I like to smooth and put it all out there within a day or so. So what I'm trying to say is when you're done with your race or you're ready to start talking about it on the subjective side of things, that's when I want you to reach out. The last thing I would want as an athlete is to, you know, do this really hard race and then have coach start bothering me right away about how it happened or what went on, because maybe your emotions are going to talk more than some of the facts for that race. So again, write some notes. You can always put some things in Training Peaks or in the coaching app and throw some stuff in there. And then when we get some time, especially if it's a traveling race and you're away, like different time zones as well, I don't want to push and be pushy, because rest and relaxation is important after the race. I want you to be settled in. I want you to have a clear mind. Even if you're out of town, like let's wait till you get back in town and we'll talk about it. But always throw me a message. Make sure you're okay after those races. I definitely want to know that things, you know, that you're okay at the very least. Because I get a little, especially if your Training Peaks workout doesn't load right away, And, you know, I get a little antsy and trying to see what really happened out there. Recovery wise, after a huge effort or race, I can dive into a whole topic on this. I may have probably do like a long form podcast on this. And that's why I also started that podcast, is to do long form content. I have a lot of thoughts and things for the weeks in here, but I'm starting to write out some types of episodes that I want to dive in a little more into like a half hour per topic. So we'll definitely talk a topic about recovery and how it's worked for me and things that I've learned through it. But just remember, recovery after a huge effort or race, you know, especially if it's even a hard effort in training, if it's something new, right, this progressive overload theory, and we're pushing and doing a workout, maybe that was a push a little too hard, or we're adding in a little bit of volume and intensity, so it's going to feel a little hard. You know, what's really going on inside the body is there's a breakdown in the body. It's hopefully not a lot of muscle damage. It's just a lot of things flowing through the body. Cells were breaking down, like you push yourself, and lactic acid was flowing through your body. So we need to be gentle with that. It's we need to curb like how we feel after this recovery. And one of the big things you can do is refuel immediately. For this King of the Hill event yesterday, I brought a meal replacement shake with a bunch of carbs and protein, especially for the protein. Right after we were done, I mixed it with some water and just downed that right away, because we did go out to eat after, but that wasn't for like 2 hours after the event. And there's this real, you know, nutrient timing window that we need to fuel. So when you have these hard workouts and things, start planning that right away. Get some good, at least some type of replacement in there, or protein in right after these hard workouts or hard races. You know, if you know that it's going to be an extended period of time, that's going to also halt that catabolization inside the body, and you're going to be able to start recovering a little bit quicker as well. Take a little bit of a break in training, and if you have to, you know, don't sit. You have to be a little bit active. Like today, I went on the trainer just for a little bit, super low power. Like I just didn't even have it in my legs after yesterday's event, and that's fine. Like, you know, you shouldn't be going into that next workout with any ambition on a certain pace or a certain power or anything like that. And then again, just low impact. If you were doing weights, you're in a program of strength training, stay the next couple sessions with some lighter weights. You may have a little bit of muscle damage or a breakdown and things like that from the race, so you don't necessarily want to add on top of that. You still need to recover. And that goes with massage and things like that as well, recovery protocol wise. Even, you know, the boots are good. That's more of a lighter type massage. But if you're going to go for like a deep tissue massage the next day, it's probably going to hurt a little bit. Like you have some things going on in your muscles there. So if you want to go for a lighter massage, just get some blood flow to the area, that's fine. That'll probably work out much better for you. Wait for the deeper massage until you're a little more recovered later in the week. And big thing is just listen to your body and sleep. That quality sleep is key. That is restorative. That is the body's natural process to rehabilitate the body. As long as you're providing it with good nutrients, hydration, and all the building blocks that it needs to repair itself and prepare itself for that type of activity again, because that's what the body's going to do if you do that properly. Is that's all endurance is. Remember, is we stress the body, we feed the body builds back to be able to handle what you just did. Not necessarily for the next workout, it takes a little bit of time, but that's the goal. And then we keep stressing ourselves, you know, over and over again a little bit more to build that specificity we need in training and volume and endurance to have our peak A race. So for now, everybody, enjoy week 10 of the year. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep balancing that life 1 mile at a time, and keep getting after it. I'll see you on the next one.